Imagine this: a massive cruise ship vanishes without a trace in the year 2000. No distress call. No wreckage. Hundreds of passengers gone. Just like that. For 25 years, it was a chilling mystery lost to the cold silence of the sea. Until now. Because recently, something unbelievable happened. An icebreaker ship stumbled upon a frozen cruise liner, wedged perfectly between two towering icebergs, as if time itself had stopped. What they found inside? That's where things get truly disturbing. But before we dive into the heart of this icy enigma, ask yourself, what would you do if you found a ship frozen in time? With no one aboard? It was early July 2000 when the luxury cruise ship the Northern Star set sail from Vancouver, headed for Alaska. The voyage promised majestic views, wildlife encounters, and 5-star service, but only 2 days in, communication with the ship abruptly ceased. No mayday. No mechanical warnings. Just silence. Radar lost it entirely. Rescue teams scoured the Alaskan coastline and Pacific waters for weeks. But nothing, no oil slicks, no debris. It was as if the ship had slipped through a crack in reality. Now, this isn't an episode of The Twilight Zone, but it might as well be. On board were 476 passengers and 89 crew members. Families on vacation, honeymooners, retirees seeking the northern lights. Their stories, suddenly cut off mid-journey. Among them was Dr. Evelyn Crane, a polar researcher with classified ties to a U.S. naval project. Coincidence? Or a breadcrumb in a much larger trail? After months of international search efforts, the Northern Star was officially declared lost at sea. Theories swirled: rogue waves, pirate hijacking, freak electrical failure. Some even whispered about a Bermuda Triangle-style anomaly in the north. Because who needs tropical waters when you can have your mysteries served cold? But none of these theories ever stuck. Why? Because there was never a shred of evidence. Fast forward to March 2025. A Canadian icebreaker patrolling shifting ice formations in the Arctic makes a surreal discovery: what appears to be the bow of a ship protruding from a wall of ice. Initial satellite images showed a cruise liner lodged between two icebergs, perfectly intact. The name barely legible under the frost: the Northern Star. A specialized team boards the vessel. The decks were eerily preserved. Plates still set on dining tables, clothes hanging neatly in rooms. It looked like everyone had just disappeared mid-meal, but there was no sign of human remains, not one, no bodies, no bones. Just personal belongings left behind, untouched by time. And then they opened the control room. Inside the ship's bridge, the control panel was frozen solid, but all instruments showed a recorded log of the ship sailing smoothly until 2:14 a.m. on July 3, 2000. Then, complete system failure, just nothing. As if something interfered with every electronic device on board. Ever had your phone freeze and felt annoyed? Try your entire cruise ship freezing, and never restarting. What shook investigators most was an external hard drive, miraculously preserved. It contained partial security footage from the night of the disappearance. Footage showed passengers enjoying dinner, dancing, laughing. And then, flickering lights, sudden panic, crew rushing to secure doors. Then, static, total blackout, no sign of attack. No warning. Meteorological logs from nearby weather stations in 2000 reported a bizarre atmospheric event, an unexplainable drop in temperature and electromagnetic interference in the same region the ship vanished. Some scientists now believe a rare Arctic phenomenon may have occurred, something akin to a magnetic pole disruption or ice fog anomaly. But here's the twist: these events usually last hours, not decades. Remember Dr. Evelyn Crane? Turns out she was researching deep-sea magnetic anomalies and their effect on navigation systems. Her final journal entry, recovered from her cabin, read: "We've gone off course, there's something out here, something old." And no, she wasn't just referring to the ship buffet. Investigators finally viewed the last 3 seconds of salvaged footage. It showed the ship's stern, engulfed in a strange white fog. Not snow. Not storm. This fog moved unnaturally, swirling against the wind, wrapping around the ship like a living force. Then, a deafening high-pitched sound, and the video cuts out. Sound familiar? That exact frequency has been detected in only one other place on Earth. We'll get there. Personal belongings were found exactly where passengers left them. Laptops still open, luggage unpacked, a child's toy mid-hallway. It was as if time had paused. One photo stood out, a family posing on deck, time-stamped minutes before the ship vanished. Everyone in the background is smiling, except one figure. Blurry, faceless, standing still. Nope. Not creepy at all. Totally normal cruise photo, right? Glaciologists examined the ice formation around the ship. Strangely, the two icebergs had converged after the ship vanished, creating a perfect capsule. Inside, temperature and pressure stayed nearly constant, allowing remarkable preservation. Experts say the odds of a ship being trapped and preserved like this are 1 in 100 million. It's almost like nature wanted us to find it, just not too soon. One fringe theory now gaining traction? Temporal displacement, a theory suggesting the ship didn't just go missing, but moved through a fold in time itself. It sounds like science fiction, but several onboard devices, like watches and clocks, were found frozen at the exact same time. No drift. No deviation. And guess where similar patterns were found? The HMS Erebus wreck. Another frozen ship. Another frozen mystery. The Arctic has a long history of vanishing ships, the Franklin expedition, the USS Cyclops, and even small Soviet vessels during the Cold War. Most were written off as lost to nature. But now, with the Northern Star resurfacing in pristine condition, some wonder, were they lost? Or taken? And if the Arctic is collecting ships, maybe it's time we start asking why. For the families of those on board, the discovery brings painful closure, but also more questions. Memorials are being held, but with no bodies, no certainty, many refuse to accept the finality. One daughter of a missing passenger said, "It's like they're still out there. Somewhere." The hardest part? Not knowing if your loved one vanished, or simply stepped into something beyond comprehension. Within hours of the ship's discovery, satellite feeds were restricted, and the area was declared a no-fly zone. Why? Government agencies, including ones with no maritime focus, arrived at the scene. One agency filed the ship under anomalous recovery A classification used only twice in recorded history. Data reveals that the Northern Star had sailed directly over a known magnetic anomaly zone, one capable of disrupting compasses, sensors, and even human perception. Some say it's nature. Others? A portal. A wrinkle in Earth's magnetic fabric. And remember that high-pitched sound in the footage? It was detected once before. During a failed Soviet Arctic expedition in 1959. At this point, we need to stop blaming penguins and start asking deeper questions. With more cruise liners exploring polar routes, experts are worried, could other ships face the same fate? Ice isn't the only danger now. Invisible forces, magnetic, temporal, maybe something else, might be hiding just beneath the frost. One wrong course, one uncharted patch of ocean, and a ship might disappear into the unknown. For decades. Despite global interest, access to the Northern Star was cut off after only 48 hours. Media were pushed out. Independent researchers blocked. The ship? Towed somewhere classified. Why such secrecy? Some speculate the ship held more than passengers. Something they weren't meant to find. One final item was recovered, a voice recorder from Dr. Evelyn Crane's cabin. In it, she says, "We are being followed. But there's no radar signature. Just whispers. We've changed course. I don't think we're in our world anymore." Then, silence. "Okay. That's it, I'm canceling my next cruise." Was this a natural phenomenon? Or something known, and kept secret, by authorities? Some believe there are files, locked away, that reveal how often this has happened. If true, how many more ships are frozen, hidden, waiting to be discovered? This isn't just about one ship. It's about the stories we've lost. The people whose journeys were stolen. The forces of nature, or otherwise, that can bend the rules of time and space. It reminds us that even in the age of GPS and satellites, the world still holds secrets we can't explain. Scientists now see the Northern Star as a case study in cryogenic preservation, magnetics, and unexplained anomalies. Research is ongoing, quietly, privately. But one thing is certain, the Arctic is not as empty as we once thought. And who knows what else is waiting beneath the ice. So, what really happened to the Northern Star? A freak of nature? A tear in reality? Or a message, left frozen in the silence of the ice? Whatever it was, it found them. And it might not be done. If you want more mysteries the world can't explain, hit subscribe. Because some stories were never meant to stay buried.